When you see the whole world shaking and you feel your heart is breaking, take my hand, no hesitating. Oh, when you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains to how we can climb it. Feel this, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains to how we can climb it. Feel this, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Hello. How are you? It's January 8th. Okay. I know I still have my Christmas decorations up. We usually, we don't put them down until at least the Epiphany, which was January 6th. But when the missus and I go to service tomorrow to church, we're still celebrating the Epiphany. And actually, we're going to be singing some Christmas carols during the service. In a sense, it's still a little bit like Christmas, but I'm going to start taking them down most likely tomorrow. The weather's going to be a little bit warmer. I mean, that's for the outside decorations. But so I have my lights still up. So what? Okay, enjoy the season. So we have a lot to talk about, and this is the beginning of the live stream. What I'm going to do once I do my little intro, I would actually do the instruction for today, and we'll what I'm going to do. I just hear my wife downstairs. I know she's watching either a football or basketball game. She's and I hear her screaming. I think that's what it is. But what I'm going to start doing is then converting some of these live stream videos then into podcasts. So you can listen to me while you're at the gym working out, and I will give you invaluable tips on the real estate market and the current market and what's going on to help you either sell a home or perhaps buy a home. So let's do a little intro, and then we'll get into the heart of the matter and a little updated information on other things. Okay. All right. So we're back. So that's my little intro. We're going to go into the podcast version of it. I'm Chris Gajulo. I am an associate broker for eXp Realty. I have my my website, which is realestatewithmrg.com, where you could search for properties or find values for your property if you're thinking about selling. We have that. And I also have my blog, realestatewithmrg.com. .blog, I'm sorry, with at least 5 articles per week on the current real estate market and some videos and other fun stuff, depending on what's happening in the area of Hampton Roads. Okay. So we're going to talk today about why it's best to, if you're going to list your house, most people think that spring is the best time to put your house on the market. We're going to give you some reasons today why maybe it would not be such a good idea to wait to March or April or May to do it. It might be best to do it now. Before I go into the heart of the matter, I went shopping today, food shopping, and I noticed that the shelves in the Harris Teeter by me, a lot of the shelves were bare. There wasn't any fresh salad. There was very little milk and other items. They were not there. The bread aisle was kind of, I mean, there was some bread there, but it wasn't the abundance of bread that they usually have. So I spoke to one of the workers there and said, "Oh, is this because of the snowstorm?" And I-95 was backed up, maybe a lot of trucks are delayed. And this young lady said, it's because no one is working at the warehouse. In other words, most people have COVID. In this, I'm not saying generally, but it seems that there was a good portion of the employees at this warehouse had COVID, and so they're not coming in. They're in quarantine, and this is a delay right now that's happening. Now, if you've been listening to my many live stream podcasts, I've been doing this for about almost 2 years. And once the pandemic started going full stream, I always said, whatever predictions we make for the real estate market, it will always be determined by what's happening with COVID-19. Okay, so we could say, yeah, the economy is hot, and a lot of people buying houses, and rates are good, but there's always a chance that if we get, we made progress of getting out of the pandemic, but it seems that we're falling back. And all the difficulties that we experienced within the last year and a half to 2 years is because of COVID-19 and people getting sick, and warehouses not being fully staffed, mills not being fully staffed, truckers not being fully staffed, and we had these big delays, right, in getting things done. And we also had people who refrained from putting their house on the market because they did not want many different people walking through their homes and perhaps spreading COVID-19. Now, this is mostly for people who have their homes on the market who are still living there, right? If they're already moved out, it's not such a big issue. But if they're still living there, they were nervous about having many people coming into their homes and looking and perhaps spreading the virus. All right. Now we're at this very critical point. Now the good news is it seems that this Omicron variant, it seems to be very contagious, but it's not as severe. It's severe for those who are not vaccinated, including having a booster shot. People who have that have been having cold symptoms, but they're not going to the hospital. And thankfully, they're not passing away. The ones, who have their vaccines and their boosters, like myself and my wife, knock on wood, we've been okay. And we've been in situations, my father is in a nursing home. And right now, there's like 3 members of the staff that have the COVID-19, or 2 members of the staff, and then 3 residents got it, and it's spreading. And we've been around people who may or may not have COVID-19, and knock on wood again, we're okay. Now, it doesn't mean that we may not get sick in the future, but I believe if we do get sick, it will be mild. People within my family, and I guess I could say my extended family, who were not vaccinated very recently got COVID-19 that was very serious. So, again, it's so important to get the vaccine. You may disagree with me. I'm just going to say this, and you can say the heck with you or whatever, but we have to defeat this. And as promising as the predictions are that the predictions are for the economy and the real estate market for being so strong, if we don't get in control of this, we may go back another 12 months where it gets really rough. And people are not putting their homes on the market. And there's high competition and prices go up even higher, all right? And we have delays in building homes because people are not in the mills breaking down the lumber and making it into 2x4s, all right? And we're not having the truckers taking, it to its various locations. So a lot of things could happen again. It's a very critical point. And I don't know why the news media doesn't bring that up as much, that we could really quickly fall back to where we were a year ago, okay? So the predictions that we talk about today and the changes coming about, and last week we talked with predictions, those shadows may come if certain changes don't happen. And the changes is that, let me put it this way. If that we don't get in control of COVID-19, then those predictions for the future will change very drastically, all right? So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about, and here we go, why waiting to sell your house could cost you a small fortune. Now, the last couple of days, while looking for properties for my buyers, I'm seeing more properties hit the market. It's a new year, and people might have just waited for the holidays to be over. They probably still don't have their Christmas lights up like Mr. G, but they're beginning to make the process of putting their homes on the market. So that is happening. And again, if everything goes well, if we get this COVID under control, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's so important. But this will happen. We'll definitely have more houses on the market on the next few months. Now, I'm in Virginia. The winter season is very short here. I mean, it'll start getting warmer towards the end of February into March. March is already getting warmer. We have an earlier spring. Back when I was working in New York, I mean, spring didn't really come until April, May. It was still, March was still very, very cold, but when you see trees beginning to grow, blossom and flowers, and you'll see that much early down here. People get in the mood of going out. It's warmer. It's, they don't have to put on a heavy coat, and they'll start looking at homes. So it starts earlier here in Virginia and probably other more southern states. Okay, so that is beginning to happen right now. Again, as I stated earlier, a lot of people will wait to, April, May, June to put their house on the market. But I am seeing it happening now. All right, so let's move this down a little bit. And again, if you're listening to this via an audio podcast, I have a text up on the screen that I'm sharing, but I'm going to go over the highlights. So, as I was saying, buyers are looking right now and ready to purchase. And this is also because we have a continuation of the people who were looking last year who, with their jobs, they're probably more middle management, upper management, and they were more secure in their jobs. In fact, they most likely were able to work at home or remote working, and they made the decision that I could do fine by finding a house up out in the suburbs where I don't have to buy an extremely expensive house in a major city. I could do fine being outside the city, and maybe I just have to go into work 1-2 times a week. And this is really good. So we have buyers who are looking right now. They're ready to purchase. They're qualified. And in fact, as we go down, and we have the graph here, showings exceeds pre-pandemic numbers. And if we see, for instance, if we just use 2019, we have about 107,000.2 people viewing homes. But in 2020 and 2021, it goes up high. It goes to 156.3 and up to 175.7. So the buyers are willing to house hunt in the winter market when there are fewer options, are typically more serious. Plus, year-end bonuses and overtime payouts give people more purchasing power. So again, at their jobs, if they received a year-end bonus, I actually was working in one part of my career in Wall Street, and we would get bonuses at the end of the year. And back then, I think I got, and this is in the 80s, I got like a $3,000 bonus. Today, that probably would be at least 3 times the amount. All right, but getting that bonus or overtime payouts, you have more money now for a down payment. You have more money to fix up a house if it were. So that's happening right now. So housing demand continues to be high. Homes placed in the market for sale go from a listed status to under contract in approximately 18 days, okay? And that's most likely after the home inspection, which a lot of people are doing right now, home inspection for informational purposes only, which I hope will change. I think some repairs could be done by the seller. It's just the right thing to do, okay? And then we go down to pending sales beat pre-pandemic numbers, okay? And again, we see in 2020 and 2021, we see a gigantic jump up from 2019. We have a 108 at 2019, but in 2020, we have 125.8. And in 2021, we have 122.4. big increases in pending sales. So what's the other reason why? And again, this session is geared more towards the homeowner and the homeowner who's thinking about selling their homes, putting it on the market. So other sellers plan to list earlier this year. Okay. So there'll be a group that will wait for March and April to put it on. But if you are ready and are able to sell your home now and you have another home to go to, or you yourself are looking, or sometimes I have clients who are actually having a house built and they may need a 3-month span or whatever before they could actually move into their new home. But if you're able to like move into a new home for sure by next month, or at least by March, you could put your house on the market now and avoid the competition. Now, we expect home prices, perhaps, in this article, they use 5%, the increase of 5%. I have articles will say at least 3%. So we expect this year for home prices to go up. So let's say between 3 to 5%. We do not expect them to go down, okay, unless something really bad happens. But if everything goes with the momentum that it's going now, they should increase. So it's a lot better if you could find a home now before, late spring, early summer, when we really expect the prices to move up to that 3 to 5% increase. And of course, basic knowledge, the more expensive the home, the more expensive the monthly mortgage payment. Okay? And newly constructed homes will be your competition this spring. So in 2020, there were over 979,000 new single-family housing units authorized by building permits. Many of those homes have yet to be built because of labor shortages and supply chain bottlenecks brought on by the pandemic. They will, however, be completed in 2022. So again, once you start waiting to put your house on the market and you wait to mid-year, now you have the competition of buyers considering newly constructed homes, okay? So maybe your house will not sell that fast. So you have to keep that in mind as well. And then the last point that this article brings out, there will never be a better time to move up. And it's sort of repeating what I just said, that we project homes going up approximately 5% over the next 12 months. And that means it will cost you more, both in your down payment and mortgage payment if you wait. And we also expect the mortgage rates to go up. Right now, they're just a little bit above the 3% area, but they are expected to go a little bit higher. Not much higher, but a little bit higher. But the more expensive the home, a quarter of a point or an eighth of a point could really affect your mortgage payment. So in the long run, if you are ready to move, if you have a place to go to, or you are actively looking, it is a good time to start looking or start considering to put your house on the market. And if you do, I'm getting a message on my board here. Okay. If you do, then please go to my website, realestatewithmrg.com, and you could search for homes there. And if you click on sellers, you could put in your home address, and it will give you an estimate of what your house may be worth. But I will get that notice, that alert, and I will fine tune it and give you, I will send you out comms for newly listed properties, properties that are pending, properties that are sold, and we could fine tune it. Because, not to go so much off a subject, but the really big difference is within the house, whether it's been updated. So you could have two houses that the same amount of square footage, the same amount of bedrooms, the same amount of baths. Okay. And if you just put that mathematical formula into an algorithm, they would say, okay, that's the same price. But when you look inside, when a human being looks at the home's inside and see what's updated, that makes a big difference. That can be the difference of $20,000 in the pricing of the property. All right, so you could go to my website at realestatewithmrg.com. Very, very simple to remember. Okay, and if you, let me see if I have my other thing here. And just to get you prepared for purchasing or selling, I have my buyer and seller guides, and they are updated actually every quarter. So there's right now we have the winter selling guides, and then we'll get the spring, and then the summer, and then the fall. So they're updated. It's very, very current. And I think I have a photo here. So this is the buying one. And that's actually the fall one. Did I bring up the winter one here? Let's see here. Oh, I got to upload. I apologize. I got to bring the winter graphics up. But they're already posted on my blog. So if you go there, and again, if you forget the whole long extension, if you just go to Real Estate with Mr. G, and in the top menu, you'll see resource materials, and you click on that, and you could download them, and you could download them for free. I'm not charging anything. All right, so that's very helpful. And then after you read it, then you call me and contact me. You could email me and say, hey, I'm ready to buy. Hey, I'm ready to sell. And I will very happily help you with that process. Okay? All right, so that's today's podcast. And I think I hear, well, before I do my silly stuff, because this will be probably the end of the portion of the, well, let me bring in I'm hearing from my producer, REWMRG, that we have a famous celebrity in the audience. I might have had them on before. Why I worked with this celebrity in the past. So tell me something about that.
Yes, great news. You have a famous celebrity in the audience which you have worked with in the past. In her TV series, she was a smart and fearless collie, performing a series of heroic tasks for her human owners and friends. For the first several years of the series, she lived on family farms before moving on to work with forest rangers in the wilderness and ultimately settling in at Holden Ranch, a ranch for troubled children. Ladies and gentlemen, Lassie.
See, I'm happy to see Lassie again, and that she was in the audience. I'm not that crazy that she brought her own credits. She's a real, you know what I mean. But okay, I'll take it. But I did work with her years back. I did when little Timmy was ill. I was a stand-in for Timmy, and here's a photo of us together that we did to promote the TV station, the TV show. So And, you know, we did work well together at that time, but that was many years ago. All right, so that's our show for today. So if you haven't gotten vaccinated, I recommend that you do. Get your booster. Be kind to each other, all right? Please be kind to each other. And remember, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift, each other. And I'll see you next week.